all to this insightful session on cybersecurity. This was incomplete without the support of a faculty coordinator, Dr. Payal Garg, and our lead, Mehak Sharma, and obviously our special cybersecurity team members, led by Smith Verma. The stage is all yours, Smith. Continue.
Amrita, please start.
Okay. So, hello everyone. A very warm welcome to Beyond the Code. This is an online session brought to you by GDG GL Bajaj. I'm Amrita and I'll be kicking things off today with introducing our cybersecurity team. So, it consists of Smith,
Hello,
Smith
everyone.
and Digvijay,
Hi, guys.
Utkarsh,
Hello.
Arpit, and me, Amrita. So let me quickly walk you through what's coming up today. This is our power packed session timeline. So first, I'll be starting with some basics before we dive deep into the world of cybersecurity. Then Smith will explain how web apps work and where the risks are. Then Digvijay will introduce Burp Suite and show it live in action. Then we have Smith back to explain SQL injection, followed by a live demo with Digvijay. Finally, Utkarsh will guide you on how to start a career in cybersecurity. We'll end with a quick Q&A and a fun quiz to test your hacker instincts. We have winner certificates, participation certificates, stickers, and more lined up for you. So stay sharp. Let's go started and go beyond the code. So before we talk about hacking, proxies, or bounties, we need to understand that what we are actually dealing with. Cyber is a term that refers to anything related to computers, networks, or the internet. So, when we talk about cybersecurity, we mean protecting digital systems, data, and infrastructure from unauthorized access or attacks. From websites you visit to your bank apps to sensitive government systems, everything needs to be protected. And that's where cybersecurity comes in. It's not just a technical field, it's about thinking like an attacker, finding flaws before they are exploited, and staying one step ahead. Now, let's move on to one of the core concepts of cybersecurity, the CIA triad. No, not the spy agency. This CIA stands for confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Confidentiality means to make sure that data is only accessible to the right people. Think of your personal chats, passwords, or banking info. Confidentiality ensures that no one else sees them. Integrity. It means to ensure that data is accurate and unaltered. Imagine if someone hacked into your lead code profile and changed your 300 plus questions to zero. Not cool, right? That's a breach of integrity. Availability. It means to make sure systems and data are accessible when needed. If a hospital's database goes down during an emergency, that's a failure of availability. So, together, these three principles form the foundation of cybersecurity. Every policy, tool, and strategy is built to protect at least one, if not all three of these. So, that's a quick primer into the cybersecurity world. What it is, why it matters, and what we need to protect. Next up, we've got Smith, who's going to take you through how the internet works behind the scenes and how even a simple HTML request can become a risk if not handled properly.
Good evening, everyone. I hope I am audible. If someone can confirm. Yes, you are.
Yes, Smith, you may continue.
Okay. All right. Good evening, everyone. So before we start learning about vulnerabilities and how we can exploit them, I think it's very important for us to get a small idea as to how the internet works. So for example, if you have your laptop and you have the rest of the internet, which consists of servers, whenever you request a page, whether that is an HTML web page or am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Whether that is an HTML web page or a video or even an image file, all of it happens through the request and response pattern. So, for example, let us take the example of YouTube. Whenever we want to watch a video, we go on to YouTube and click on the video's thumbnail. So, a request is sent to YouTube server wherever it is located. And once our login session is validated, the YouTube server sends back the data of the video, which is then rendered by the browser and displayed on our screens. Now, what are web apps anyway? So, in Web 1.0, web pages were simple static HTML files with hyperlinks connecting them. It did not look very pretty, but it got the jobs done. But Web 2.0 brought about web applications. What do they mean? Well, the meaning lies in the word. Applications that can be utilized and accessed through the web or the internet are known as web applications. Following is a small structural diagram that shows us how a web application is structured. There are two ends to it. First is the front end, which is all the content that the user sees and interacts with on their phone or their computer, their browser device. This can be coded in HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So, for example, whenever we visit a website, let us take the example of Instagram.com. Whenever we click on the Instagram app, or maybe we open it in a browser, a request is sent to the backend. The backend is the server that contains all of the code, all of the data, and is responsible with presenting us that data when we require it. It contains the app logic, the business code, and any other requirements that are necessary. Two other elements are connected with this backend, mainly the file system, which is just the folder inside which all the files such as the HTML and the CSS files reside. And then there's the database, which is a specialized software that allows the storage, reading, and updation of repeated rows of thousands and thousands of data elements. We understand database in terms of SQL, which is the language that is used to access, write the database. Languages where example include MySQL, MongoDB, PostgreSQL, and so on. So whenever we send a request, the backend validates the response, and based on what we have requested, we have the permission to view it. The backend sends the response, which is then rendered in our front end, and it is displayed to us user. Examples of web apps are many, including Instagram, Netflix, and even the meeting software that we are now on currently. There's an inherent risk involved with web applications. It is the fact that your data is not only residing in your device, but is actually transferred to and stored on someone else's computer as well. For example, if we upload our family pictures on Google Drive, though they can be accessed from our phone, they eventually actually lie in the servers of Google. Now, this creates a bit of a risk because there is a shared risk model. Not only we are responsible with protecting our own data, but also the Google server security code is now responsible for protecting it because it also contains a copy. Now, before we actually look into vulnerabilities that deal with exploiting some logic flaws and exposing this risk, we'll actually take a look at one of the most interesting applications that is utilized to test these vulnerabilities. And I would like to invite Digvijay on the mic to go ahead and explain Burp Suite to us with a live demo.
Thank you, Smith. Can you stop sharing so I can share the screen?
Sure.
Can you stop the sharing? I want to share my screen.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Go on.
I hope you can see my screen.
Yes, Digvijay.
Okay. So, hi guys, I'm Digvijay, and I'll tell you about Burp Suite, what it is actually. So, whenever you want to surf any website or want to make request, for example, you make request to google.com. So, what it simply does it, you make your request from your laptop and it goes to the Google server and it sends you back the response. Now, what is Burp Suite? It is a tool which captures the request in between and acts as a barrier. So you can capture the request, make any modification, or change any parameters, and then the request will go back to google.com. So it acts as a barrier. So what Burp Suite has? It has Majorly, three of the tools are mostly used, which is proxy, intruder, and repeater. Burp Suite has many tools. For example, Slicer, Target. It has automated scans as well, so you can just open and do an active scan on any website. I'll show you live what Burp Suite is, so you'll understand it more easily. So this is my Linux machine, and this is the tool called Burp Suite. Now, what I'll do is I'll go to my browser, and this is the extension called as Foxy Proxy. I have entered Burp as my proxy, and I've added my local host and my port number. So whatever request I made, it goes through Burp Suite. I'll click on Save, and I turn the Burp proxy on. Now you'll see what it is for. So I'll do the same as well here. Add the same port number and the request. Now, as soon as I reload this page, you can see it's being shown on the browser, and it is also shared here as a target. And you can see all of the directories of this application. Now, I'll show you a simple example of how proxy works. Now, I'll intercept this website. So I'll add Harry and any random password. Now, I'll click login. This is the magic. You see that whatever I entered here, the browser is still buffering, but the request is being captured here, and it won't be passed to the server until I press the forward button. I can change this Harry to, for example, Digvijay and forward it, turn the intercept off, and you can see, obviously, now the request is being passed. It has many tools. I'll intercept this again inside proxy, click on login, send it to repeater. Now, for example, you want to make uh, many modification in the parameters and want to change all of this. Now I'll send it to repeater, turn off the intercept. Now you can multiple time you can use this request. I can change it to any directory I want, and all of the things you can do on this page. You don't need to go into the browser every time. And it would also show you if I go request in browser, copy this link. So Burp Suite has generated a new session for me to see how this website works. I'll show you the intruder tab, what intruder tab does. So I'll turn again the intercept, add here Harry and password as password, click on login. I'll send it to intruder and turn off the intercept. Now this is the main part. This intruder tab is used for brute forcing. All of you know what brute force attack is. You have word list and you can start an attack. I'll show you a live attack. I have added these two parameters that I want to do brute force. I'll choose a cluster bomb attack because it has two payload position. I can use two different word list. I have selected the first parameter here. I'll load my word list, select the second one, load a different word list, and I'll simply click on start attack. And you can see the attack is started. Now from payload 1, payload 2, you can see that the brute force attack is going on using different passwords and different username that I have shared. So it's as easy as that. Burp Suite is used for many of the things. For example, on dashboard, you can see that an active attack is still going on. There is multiple things. You can go to sequencer, decoder, and it also has one great feature. You can also decode anything simply from here. And you can see that this was a cookie, but here, when I decoded it from base 64, it sees that I can see plain text. But that is how easy Burp Suite does for a hacker. This tool is used by most of the hackers who are in red teaming. And if you are dealing with web apps and websites or any web application, Burp Suite is a must. I hope you understand all of this. Now I'll give it back to Smith, who will explain you the vulnerabilities, especially SQLI. Smith, back to you.
Thank you, Digvijay. That was really clear to understand. I'll just share my screen again to continue. There we are. All right, vulnerabilities, right? Okay, so any kind of weakness or flaw that is in the system that can be used to exploit it and access the data that is hidden behind the protected system is known as a vulnerability. We have a lot of vulnerabilities both for the web and the services, but we are going to look at one in particular today, which is SQLI. SQLI stands for SQL injection. Now we have a very cool diagrammatic represented here that shows us how a single SQL injection can be utilized to bypass passwords or dump credentials and eventually gain access to the admin login of any web page. Now, what is SQL anyway? Well, let us look at the words. Injection is any kind of attack that is wherein a malicious piece of text is inserted as user input that can go to the backend and get the server to do something that it ideally shouldn't be doing. And when it is SQL joined with injection, we just know that it is talking about entering any malicious inputs that can mess with SQL queries. So, for example, let us take this login page that we see in front of ourselves. There's an email field and a password field, and then there's a sign in button. Now, before we understand how the attack occurs, let us see what actually happens behind the scene when we click on the sign in button after entering the details. For example, for this particular scenario, let us assume this is the Instagram login page. We have entered our username and password, and now we are clicking on login or sign in. Now, whenever we click on the sign in page after entering our credentials, what happens is basically you remember the request and response patterns from earlier. This is the updated request and response in live action. Our computer sends a request to the backend database asking if there is a username with the if there is a user with the username Harry. Yes, yes, Nikhil. Definitely there will be participation certificates. They look very pretty. Don't you worry. Okay, so we are asking the backend server if there is a user with the username Harry and if he has a password called strongman225. So if the user actually exists and the password is correct, the database will send back the details, including his number of followers or posts or messages, which in particular is very sensitive information. Now, if we focus on this particular request, if there can be any way we can actually disable the password statement, we can actually basically somehow ignore the rest of the statement, then what happens is we are left only with the top half of the statement. Now it's very easy to guess usernames, right? In fact, on Instagram we can just directly see them, which account has which username, right? So this statement becomes very easily true. So coming back to this example, we need to find a way to basically make the backend server ignore the rest of the statement and only focus on the username. That will lead to our request becoming something like this, where as long as we enter a correct username, the existing user profile along with all the private information like messages and posts is sent back to us. Now, to understand how we can begin, removing and eliminating some of the SQL statement, let us look at what the SQL statement actually looks like in real time in the backend. So whenever we enter this request, is there a username, a user with the username Harry and password this, it is actually converted into an SQL query in the backend, which all of you might recognize because we have studied this at college, which is a select command. There we are comparing the username supplied by the user and the password as well, and they are connected with an AND operator to signify that both should be correct at the same time. Now, herein, I want to introduce something that contains the trick to be able to disable half an SQL statement, comments. So we all know comments from programming languages, and comments are basically such special operators that help us ignore that basically tell the computer to ignore all of the content that is followed by the statement. We have seen comments in Python, we have seen comments in and on. So SQL also has comments, right? But if we are somehow able to inject a comment from our user input, we'll effectively be able to make the SQL statement ignore SQL command ignore the rest of the statement. So definitely we want us to stop make the server stop as soon as it recognizes the username Harry. So what if we try to insert a comment in the username field after our real username? What this will lead to is basically disabling or making the SQL compiler ignore the rest of the statement that was programmed in its backend. So this means that our statement is effectively just seeing if there is a user from the username Harry, and then that is enough for it to send back all the details of that user, including very sensitive information that the user may have stored on the server. So this is the concept of SQL in theory, but definitely we are going to gain so much more understanding once we actually look at an amazing demo. Oops, not attendance yet. Before we look at a demo hosted by Digvijay, which will be shown live here. So Digvijay, please take the mic again and show us the demo.
Thank you, Smith. So I'll share my screen quickly. Hope you can see the screen again. Is it visible?
Yes, Digvijay, it is.
Okay. So Smith beautifully explained how SQL and SQL injection work, and I'll show you it live. Here, Smith explained that SQL uses this statement to check whether this username and this password exist in the database, and if yes, it logs you in. If not, then it shows you an error. How we can use these comments, I'll show you, and I'll show you the same example. So let's go back to our Burp Suite. Hope you understand the intercept functionality. I'll intercept this again. I'll add Harry and the same password, strongman25. Turn on the intercept and I'll click on login. And you can see that I have the same username and password. Now, what if I'll use a simple SQL query just to check whether it's running or not. I'll forward this request, turn off the intercept, and I'll see. This is a great error because it showed me that there is something going on with SQL, and we can move on further with it. So I'll add a very basic SQL injection. I'll add this again, Harry, and let's take password. I'll turn the intercept on again, click on login. Now what I'll do is I'll use this apostrophe or 1 = 1 and comment out. So what the statement does is it will use this username as Harry, what was shown in the slide, Harry, and all the other is being commented out. So this is being commented out. And you can see that there is an OR statement. So it will choose between these two statements. If the username is Harry or 1 = 1. I mean, obviously 1 = 1, 2 = 2, or A equals A. So it's simple as that. And the rest of the parameters are being commented out. Now, will it work? Let's check. I'll forward this request and okay, damn, yes, we're in. You can see I am inside admin user. And what I did was simply comment out all of the statements and use my own query or 1 = 1. So you can use, but it was very basic. These are some of the SQL injections used. This is a word list. There are many advanced SQL injections, and this is just a test website. Actual websites have more security and encryption, so only SQL injection won't work. You have to encrypt the SQL injection, and you have to make requests on repeater to check again and again if this works or not. So this is how you can check using Burp Suite if SQL injection works or not. I hope it was beneficial for all of you. Now I'll give it back to Utkarsh, who will explain you careers in cyber.
Okay. Thank you, Digvijay. Now let's talk about careers in cyber. Before we jump on careers in cyber, we have to understand two terms that are red team and blue team. So if we talk about red team, their roles are to offensive security, and if we talk about blue team, their role is defensive security. If we talk about objective of red team, it's to stimulate real world cyber attack to test security defense, whereas blue team monitor, detect, and respond to security threats and attack. The main task of red team is to penetration testing, phishing, social engineering, and exploit discovery, whereas the main task of blue team is to log analysis, system hardening, threat detection, and insight response. If we talk about the goal of red team, it identify weakness before real attacker do. And if we talk about the goals of blue team, it prevent breaches and ensure quick recovery if one occur. Red team uses tool like Metasploit custom script, whereas blue team uses tools like SIEM, IDPS, IPS, antivirus, firewall, monitoring tools. If we talk about the outcomes of a team, it reports on vulnerabilities and provides recommendation, whereas blue team provides strength, system, patch vulnerability, and improve response. So now let's talk about the
Okay,
career.
if you wouldn't mind, let us just take a quick minute to have the attendance for today before we continue. Guys, please scan this QR and enter your attendance so that we can send out the participation certificates. There will be code section. This QR I'll be showing for 2 minutes. So enter the code as 9393. So just tell me if you have any problem. You can share that in the chat. Else we'll move on with Utkarsh explaining careers in more detail. 9393 is the code. Okay, in case if someone is joining, if you are from GL Bajaj, then you could enter your sorry, the uh, AKTU roll number, university roll number, and if you're from outside, then you can just enter your college name. Is that okay,
Correct.
Utkarsh?
Put NA over there. It will be better.
Okay, NA is better.
Hmm.
Thank you. We'll wait another 30 seconds, guys. If you have any problem in opening the link, then please tell in the chat so that we can wait a little longer or we can continue. All right. Okay. I hope you all did that. And let us. The code is 9393. It's also there in the chat. 90 plus 3, 93. I'll also just share the link in the chat itself if someone is unable to scan it. The link for the document. And you
Let's wait for another 1 minute, then you may start.
have. Okay.
Great.
Tarun, you can just write NA. It's all okay.
Yeah, if you are from Mathura branch, you may write your roll number if you have with you.
All right, guys. I think we should move ahead. Rudraj, is that okay?
Yeah, it's good. You may start.
Okay, Utkarsh, please go on. Sorry for interrupting you.
Okay,
Let's see careers in detail.
no problem. Okay, so let's talk about what are the careers if you want to be a red team, if you want to be in red team. So first, we have two career roles. First one is penetration tester, and second one is red teamer. So let's talk about the penetration tester, also known as pen tester. A pen tester is a cybersecurity expert who stimulates security to identify and fix security weakness. Also act as an ethical hacker to help organization protect against real cyber threats. If we talk about the responsibility of pen tester, it stimulates on computer system, network, and application. It identify vulnerability before malicious hacker can exploit them, and also provide recommendation how to fix, discover security issues. Now let's talk about what is the knowledge required to become a pen tester. First one is deep technical knowledge of computer system, network, and web application. Next one is strong understanding of operating system like Linux and Windows. And also you have to familiar with some networking protocols like TCP, IP. And also you have professionality in security tools like Nmap, Metasploit, Wireshark, etc. And if you have a knowledge of Python and PowerShell, then it is very good for you. Now, another one is red teamer. So, a red teamer is cybersecurity professional focus on offensive security. So, it stimulate advanced, realistic cyber attacks to test and challenge organization defense. So, if we talk about difference from pen tester, red teamer operate like real world attackers using persistence. Unlike regular pen tester who often test in control environment, red teamer aim to avoid detection and archive a specific objective like accessing sensitive data. If we talk about the knowledge and skill required for becoming a red teamer, you have to a deep understanding of network protocol, operating system security tools, and also required advanced technical attack techniques like social engineering, phishing, lateral movement, or persistence mechanism. You have also familiar with red teamer tools like Metasploit, custom script, and etc. If we talk about the purpose and value of red teamer does not just hack; they stimulate real threats to exploit hidden weakness, enhance overall security posture, and train and test defensive teams. That's all about the red teamer. Let's talk about what are the scope or careers with blue team. And the first one is SOC analysis. SOC analysis can be defined as security operational center analysis. Uh, it is a cybersecurity professional who monitor and defend an organization digital infrastructure in real time, operate with a security operation and a centralized unit responsible for continuous security monitoring. If we talk about the responsibility of SOC analysis, it acts as the first line of defense against cyber threats and detect and investigate and respond to security incidents and also monitor and analyze data from SIEM system, that also known as security information and event management, intrusion detection system, firewalls, and endpoint security platform. For a good SOC analysis, you have what knowledge of network fundamental like IP addressing ports protocols, also operating system, especially Windows and Linux, and cyber security concept like malware, phishing, attack vectors. Now, if we talk about the second role in Blue Team, it is incident response. Incident response is a critical fast-phase cybersecurity role focused on handling security like cyber attack, data breaches, and malware infections. If we talk about key responsibility of incident response, it detects and identifies security threats quickly, analyze the scope, cause, and impact of incidents, contain the incident to prevent further damage, and document the incident and handling process thoughtfully, and provide post-incident analysis to improve existing defense and recur, uh, prevent similar attack if occurring in the future. Now, if you want to become a good incident response analyst, you have a great knowledge of networking, operating system, and malware behavior, and also you have a good command on security tools like SIEM that I told you earlier about security information and event management, endpoint detection platform, and digital forensic tools. So these are the two major role you can perform, either you are from red team or blue team. There is another more independent path that is more popular nowadays, which is bug bounty. So uh, a bug bounty is a rapidly grow field in cybersecurity that allow ethical hacker to find and report vulnerability in exchange of reward. Okay, and that means that you are free to work. You have no foundation of time that you have to perform work for 24 hour, or it's not like a job. It is a free. It depends on you whenever. It is more popular due to its flexibility. Uh, if talk about the skill and knowledge required for bug bounty, you have to knowledge about web application security fundamentals, and also understanding of network protocols like HTTP, TCP, and IP. Also, you have to familiar with uh, browser dev tools and other testing tools, and operating system knowledge like Linux, Windows, ability to read and understand code like HTML, JavaScript, PHP, etc. And you also have a good command on scripting skill like Python, JavaScript, and familiar with these coding language. If I sum it up, bug bounty hunting is a legal, flexible, and impactful cyber security career path. With the right skill and tools, anyone can contribute to global security while earning rewards. That's all about careers. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for that, Utkarsh. Now we have finally come on to the Q&A part of the meeting today. I see a lot of questions in the chat. So, uh, Digvijay, could you pick
Yes.
and answer a few of them?
I see one question from Anish. In demonstration where Burp Suite is used to intercept traffic between a client and server on the same machine, how is it functioning as a third-party interceptor? Is it demonstrator using a virtual machine or some form of network simulation? Okay, so you saw that I used a proxy tab, like I added my own configuration in Burp Suite as well as my browser. So I used a same proxy in my browser. I put my local host and my same port number, and on Burp Suite I added the same local host and the same port number. So it works as a proxy. And whenever I go to browser and surf on any website, the request goes through Burp Suite because it's proxy. I have a proxy server like a proxy network. So it goes through Burp Suite, and that's how it is intercepted. I hope it's clear. It's not MITM. It's just proxy. And the
So,
next.
Like Digvijay shared, while he was configuring this extension in his Firefox software called Foxy Proxy. So
Mhm.
that extension, what it does is basically it takes the data from Firefox and it does not let it continue. It sends the data to the other software called Burp, where you can then edit the data and then forward it, like he shared, and then he also explained. Okay, all right. There's another one.
From Aditya Kumar, VAPT tools. There are many
Okay,
VAPT tools.
yeah. Mhm.
So there is different tool for different purposes. There is Nmap for port scanning and host discovery or ping scan. There is Metasploit, which has many scripts, so you can use Metasploit and run the attack using those payloads. There is Burp Suite, it's a good tool. There is SQL Map, it's used for automatically sensing if the website has any vulnerability regarding SQL. And there is a tool called Test SSL, which will scan your SSL certificate, SSL or TLS certificate, which is used for securing your website. It's a very good tool to actually see the duration of that, like certificate validity, or is there any recent attacks that has been on the website, or is it vulnerable to different website. There are multiple number of tools, and you can use many tools as much as you like. There is like um, a tool, automatic tool for every vulnerability there is. Smith, you want to explain it a bit?
Sure. See, to be very honest, the tools are limitless. There are like two, three tools that I used a lot. For example, like Vijay mentioned, Burp and all. But to be very honest, from my personal experience, if you from the start try to understand the concept of how uh, the tool is doing what it is doing, what it is trying to accomplish, then you will not only be much better at using the tool, but also you will be, completely independent of the tool. Because in real penetration testing, there are a lot of situations where you might not have access to the tool that you need. So in that situation, having the knowledge of what the tool was actually doing and trying to do it yourself through a script or maybe a Python file will be very helpful. But if you're talking about tools in particular, there's Burp Suite, there's Nmap. Now they are dependent on which part of the penetration test you're on. For information collection, there's Nmap, there is Wireshark and all. And if you go on to exploitation, there is Metasploit and there's CrackMap exec and there just a ton of tools. So what you should do is ideally not try to learn the tools from the start. Just try to understand what the attack exploit path is, the concept is, and then you can move on to whichever tool is appropriate for that situation. I hope that answered your question. And there's one more question which I'd like to answer by Abhishek, who's asking if it is necessary to be professional in coding. I'm guessing he's asking if it's necessary to be professional in coding to become a hacker. Okay, so I'd like to explain this with a very interesting analogy. So assume you want to become a mechanic, a car mechanic, right? Now, all of the car mechanics that are, which we usually see, most of them are not you know most of them has not studied car mechanic skill in school, right? But if you have knowledge of how a car is made, how a car is created, what parts are there in the car, then you will have a much easier time trying to find the fault, trying to see how to change a particular feature in the car. Then if you just, begin with a car and just try to reverse engineer, it, try to see the parts from the outside. So similarly, in case of coding, see all of the websites or the softwares we are trying to hack, they are all made by the developers, right? So if you also have the knowledge of development, if you can see, maybe you need not write excellent code, but if you can read the code and understand what it is doing, then you will have personally a much easier time trying to hack that software, trying to see where there is a fault in the code. So it's not like 100% necessary. There are many successful hackers which are not very good with code, but it will definitely make you overall much better in your strengths. So I hope that answers that. And Anish is asking if so. See, uh, I'll just answer the small question and then Digvijay can go on. You're asking if bug Burp Suite is a man in the middle tool. So, see, man in the middle is not a tool in itself, it is just a concept. So, anytime there is a tool or a software that is stopping the request and response between two services and making some changes in the middle, that whole concept is known as man in the middle. So, Burp Suite, sure, it can be considered a man in the middle tool, but it is not a man in the middle attack like Vijay said. Only if you use it to perform some kind of attack, then it can be considered so. Now, generally, man in the middle is used for the kind of attack where you are not the user yourself. Like, for example, if we are using Burpsuit to hunt some bugs, then we are the user also and we are controlling Burp also. So that is kind of interception, but not exactly man in the middle. But for example, if two people are talking on a phone, and you might have seen in those Indian serials from the past, if two people are talking on the landline, then the third person that can just pick up the other landline and listen to them. So that is kind of conceptually man in the middle because they are neither the user nor the recipient. They are just listening in the middle without any permission. So that is a concept, and Burp is a tool. And yes, it is used to check the robustness of our application. Okay, Digvijay, go on.
Okay, yeah, that was a beautiful explanation of worksuit, I must say. So we have our next question from Arka. My question is, if I want to be a bug bounty, then which major point should I must be focused and ensure roadmap? So first of all, you need to learn Linux and Linux commands because most of the times you will be working on Linux. Most of the times, whenever you are doing any attack or anything, you need Linux. So what I would recommend is go to Try Hack Me. Even I started from that. It's a very interesting website, and it has labs. There you can solve the labs and you can understand from start what you need to learn. Um, from bug bounty, there is multiple ways you can learn. You can, mm, I would recommend Try Hack Me. It's a great tool. Even I started from it. It has many labs and different paths also. So you can go for penetration tester, you can go for blue teaming, and it has its own like server. So you can host a server, start the lab on there, learn from that, and you can go on further. I hope it was good.
Okay, guys,
I,
Rudraksh has turned his camera on, which means we need to hurry up because we have to move on to
I
the
had a
quiz also.
question.
Let us yeah,
I had a question
answer.
as
Yeah, yeah, sure,
Digvijay.
sure.
As I'm not into cybersecurity as much, I had a question. Like the tool Burp Suite you used, what is the main use case of cybersecurity workers and attackers? What is the main difference that they use?
attack I mean basically I'll share a real example. So I started working at Hitachi, and my most of the tasks are VAPT, so I do red teaming. So basically I hack the websites, and what I see is my task is to check and attack the websites and see what the vulnerabilities are. And the tool Burp Suite, it is used for capturing the network, and then I can change any parameters. So, for example, I showed that I changed the parameter named username, right? So you can we can use any parameter. So, for example, there was a parameter username. I can change that parameter to cookies, and I can grab that cookies. There is a tool called there is a vulnerability called XSS, cross-site scripting. Using that, I can gain the cookies of the website you are visiting. And using SQL map, I can log on to someone else's account. There is a vulnerability called IDOR, insecure direct reference object, uh, in which I can log on to different account from my account. It's like small specific vulnerabilities that I have to look out for. and it's all manual. There is no automated task. You have to use your brain, like, and you have to check manually what is that part that is vulnerable, where I can work on, and I can hack this more. So it is most of the time it is your deep thinking of how you can hack application. These
That
tools
means
are
that
just
the tool is same. It is all about the mindset you are having.
exactly because
Exactly.
you
I
might
think your question actually ties to another question asked by Nikhil, who is asking what is the difference between manual testing and using a proxy tool like Burp Suite. So remember, Burp is only a tool that makes it easier to modify the request. There is nothing that Burp is doing, intrinsically that is special to hacking. It is just helping us to easily change the parameters. So for example, I'd like to take back the equation of the mechanic. There are two ways we can lift up the car, right? If we have to work under the car towards the engine, either we can just manually lift it up and place the brakes, which is manual. It is the same thing as using a machine, but it is much more difficult. Or we can use hydraulic machine to push the back of the car and just place the uh, machine there. So burp exactly like that is simply a tool to make it easier to intercept the request and try different values. But at the end, if you don't know what you're trying to do with it, if you don't have the mindset like Rudraksh also pointed out, to actually use the tool to see where the problem lies, then you won't be able to go very far.
Hmm. Got the point, Sumit. Uh, do we have anything left, Smith?
I guess it is the right time to move on to the quiz, guys. Be ready. You have two ways. You can
Okay.
either join with the code that I'll be showing, or you can also scan the QR code. So, yeah, here is the QR, guys. Please join,
Can
and
we play as
we'll start it in the Definitely, Rudraksh, you should play. Although I am not sure if you'll get the prize. Try scanning in. If code is not scanning, guys, just go to slido.com and at the top you will find an option to enter the code. Enter the code there. The QR might take a little bit to scan to do with the website. Okay, people are joining. I'll just also share a joining link in the chat because many people seem to not be able to find it here. Just a second. There you go, guys. I've shared the link in the chat, so please join in from there. Rudraksh, if you could answer Lakshmi's doubt, I don't know.
No, the events were missed QR code. Okay, Smith, if you can share one last
Yeah,
time.
I'll just share it. Here you go. Yeah, quiz is not yet started. We are still waiting for people to join. So I think you will just see the participants page. So many participants have joined. I will tell it.
Lakshmi, if done, please let us know. Sorry, Smith, you may continue.
Yeah, sure. Lakshmi, please do respond after you fill the form. The code is 93, Lakshmi, 93.
Smith, he has done. You may continue with the quiz.
Okay, sure, sure, sure. Anyone left to join, guys? Please tell in the chat if you have any problem. If everyone is joined, I'll just start the quiz now. I hope everyone is there. Okay, be ready with your phones. I will stop my screen share actually and start the quiz now. Okay, guys? All right, let's start with the first question. There are 10 questions, by the way. Each question has only 10 seconds of time, so don't try chat GPTing it because that's not enough time to start. The first question is presented, I hope. Digvijay, can you confirm the question is visible? I'm recording. Okay. Next question. Guys, please read the question properly. I see some wrong answers. Okay. Next question. Please also pay attention to the time because I see some people are missing the answer. So be quick to answer, guys. Only 10 seconds. Like a lot of the times in cybersecurity, where you have to act fast and work under pressure. Okay, let's take a look at the leaderboard and see who's leading. Okay, Utkarsh is this our Utkarsh? Hey, you are not getting any prize. So Umar is leading, followed by Vedansh, and Mr. L is third.
Umar, I
Uh,
think Umar is also in our team. He
but
is the
I
He wants
guess,
to
But not
participate.
cybersecurity team.
yeah,
that is
he know the question, so I think it's fair game he plays. Okay, next question, guys. Focus. Come on. Okay, let's see the answer. So you might notice that there are two questions that are not a part of the presentation. It is beyond the presentation because let's see how good your general knowledge is related to cybersecurity, right? Very few correct on this one. No worries. This is also out of the course. out of the scope of this presentation in particular.
Smith, how
Come
many
on,
coach
guys.
members are there in the quiz?
14.
1 4 14.
Yeah.
No.
Uh, Ninth question. It was actually, I guess, a small mistake on the previous question. I'll just look into it, guys. Okay. Last question, guys. Come on. Okay. This is the final leaderboard. Abhishek Kumar, Aditya, and Vedansh. There was actually one question that had the correct answer in two spots. So that is something I'm sorry about. And let me just see who has also answered it correctly as well.
Smith, once the leaderboard is finalized, just check if they have filled the form or not.
Okay. All right. Okay, guys, the leaderboard has been prepared. I'll have to just check that point and release the answer. So please give me a minute for that. And I'll let you know.
Is everything good, Smith?
Yes. Okay. I'll just uh, tell the winners now of the leaderboard. Just a second. Okay. So first place is with Abhishek Kumar. Second place is with Aditya Kumar, and third place is with Vedansh. These are the places,
Oh,
guys.
yes.
And yeah, so good quiz, everyone. We do have participation certificates for everyone, and we also have a small survey. So please move on to the chat and open the link to see and fill it, please. Uh, Abhishek, Aditya, and Vedant should also get your uh, certificates for your quiz results
Yeah,
along with your participation
participant
card.
as well as certificate for excellence, both of them is there.
Yeah. So,
And
guys,
if
please do.
possible, we will do some goodies as well, if from college.
Yeah.
Not confirmation is there, but we will try our best.
Guys, if you are in GLB ITM in Greater Noida, then you can receive stickers from our side.
Anything left, Smith? Are we good to go?
No, yes, yes, yes.
Okay, then thank you everyone for, sir, what I will get.
Abhishek, are you not from GL Bajaj? Okay, either ways, you have your
Hmm.
certificate of participation as well as certificate of excellence. And okay, no worries. Abhishek, I hope you had provided your mail in the form, right? So don't you worry, we'll get back to you with something worthwhile related to cybersecurity, definitely. We were not expecting, actually, I guess, participants from other colleges. But nonetheless, we are going to have some good prize for you in your mail. Don't you worry. All
Okay, then
right.
let's wrap up. Thank you everyone. Thanks to all the audience who was patiently there and listened to each and every member. And thank you especially for all the team members of cybersecurity team. Hope you all also come in next future events as well. Thank you guys. Bye bye. If any questions, yes, yes. Last thing, you all may please provide your LinkedIn profiles. If any of them have any doubt, they may connect to you. Guys, you may connect
I
to all
think
the
Smith, yes, I think Smith and Digvijay should share their LinkedIn profiles as they are the most experienced.
any one of you who is comfortable to share. You know. Guys, do connect with them, and if any doubt is there, you may ask them. Smith, are you sharing a profile? Great. Okay, then let's wrap up. Bye bye, guys. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you so much, everyone.
Bye.